Well, the photo that you see on your screens is from 2018. It was the last visit of Prime Minister Modi to Oman. And during the visit, he met with Oman's late Sultan, Qaboos bin Saeed, to discuss strengthening bilateral ties in trade, investment, defense, and security. Hello and welcome to this episode of Deep Dive by NewsX with me, Vineet Malhotra. And today, we unpack the India-Oman trade deal in the backdrop of the newly announced visit of Prime Minister Modi to Oman. For over 70 years, their diplomatic ties have blossomed into a robust economic partnership, with bilateral trade hitting $10.61 billion in financial year 24-25. But beneath the numbers lies a story of shared heritage, strategic solidarity, and a vibrant human bridge. Oman's economy relies heavily on hydrocarbons, and as of late 2024, proven crude oil and condensate reserves were around 4.825 billion barrels, with daily production averaging 1.08 million barrels. Oil exports for the year totaled 308.4 million barrels, and natural gas reserves stand at approximately 23.3 trillion cubic feet, supporting LNG exports of 12 million metric tons in 2024. Upstream investments rose 24% in early 2025, reaching $12.5 billion in the first quarter. And Oman is diversifying under its Vision 2040 with projects in enhanced oil recovery and green hydrogen. For India, Oman provides a reliable nearby source, supplying about 4% of its crude oil imports. Now, let's take a look at what India truly imports from the country of Oman. In financial year 24-25, India's imports from Oman total 6.55 billion, up 44.8% from the previous year. Mineral fuels dominated, with crude petroleum and refined products worth $4 billion, over 70% of that total. Fertilizers, especially urea, are significant for India's agriculture. Organic chemicals reached $608 million used in plastics and petrochemicals. Polymers, gypsum, and iron and steel also feature prominently. These imports support India's energy needs and industrial growth. Ongoing CEPA negotiations could reduce tariffs and expand non-oil trade. Now let's take a little look at the other side. What Oman imports from India? Oman's imports from India were $4 billion in the same period, down 8.1%. India is Oman's fourth largest non-oil import partner. Refined petroleum products led the list, followed by iron and steel for construction, processed minerals, and organic chemicals. Other key items include textiles, pharmaceuticals, food products like rice and spices, machinery and engineering goods. Over 6,000 joint ventures valued at $776 million highlight collaboration. The upcoming CEPA is expected to boost services and trade in IT, logistics, and tourism. Well, we have talked about trade and who imports what. Now let's take a look at all the times that Oman has stood with India and has provided or proved to be a strategic long-term partner. Oman has consistently supported India since diplomatic ties began in 1955. During the 1971 war, it was the only Muslim-majority Gulf nation to back India at the UN. Oman was the first Gulf state to establish formal defense ties with India, starting joint military exercises in 2006 and providing spare parts for Indian aircrafts. In 2018, it granted access to the Duqm port, enhancing India's strategic presence in the Indian Ocean. Oman strongly supports India's position on counter-terrorism in international forums and through bilateral mechanisms. Joint statements, including those from high-level visits in 2018 and 2023, condemn terrorism in all its forms and manifestations, calling for isolating sponsors and supporters of terrorism, and commit to coordinated efforts against extremism, radicalization, and the misuse of religion or technology for terrorist purposes. Prime Minister Modi's visit in December 2025 marks the 70th anniversary of relations and advances in the CEPA. The Indian community in Oman numbers over 700,000, the largest expatriate group and about one-fifth of the population. As of 2025 figures, it stands at around 686,000. Indians work across sectors like healthcare, engineering, education and business. They contribute to major projects like the Duqm port and run thousands of joint ventures. Indian FDI in Oman supports logistics and renewables. Remittances strengthen economic links back home, while cultural exchanges enrich daily life in Oman. With the basics out of the way, let's take a look at the India-Oman trade deal and what both sides say about the same. Well, during Sultan Haitham bin Tariq's visit to India in 2023, during a bilateral meet with the Sultan, both nations adopted the new India-Oman joint vision.
ओमान गहरी मित्रता के अटूट संबंध रहे हैं। अरब सागर के एक छोर पर भारत है तो दूसरे छोर पर ओमान है। हमारी आपसी निकटता केवल भूगोल तक सीमित नहीं है, बल्कि ये हमारे हजारों वर्षों से चले रहे व्यापार और संस्कृति और हमारी समान प्राथमिकताओं से भी झलकती है। इस यशस्वी इतिहास के बलबूते पर हम एक उज्जवल भविष्य की संरचना कर रहे हैं। आज हम एक नए इंडिया ओमान ज्वाइंट विजन ऑफ पार्टनरशिप फॉर फ्यूचर को एडॉप्ट कर रहे हैं। इस ज्वाइंट विजन में 10 विभिन्न क्षेत्रों पर ठोस एक्शन पॉइंट्स पर सहमति बनी है। मुझे पूरा विश्वास है कि ज्वाइंट विजन हमारी साझेदारी को एक नया और आधुनिक स्वरूप देगा।
The Prime Minister's hope to sign the agreement soon has turned into reality. Just yesterday, the ambassador of Oman to India, Sheikh Humaid bin Ali bin Sultan Al Mani, stated that both nations are moving in positive directions and all terms of the CEPA have been finalized.
The CEPA agreement, it has been there in the vision document that has been produced during His Majesty's visit, and there was a call for it to be expedited in terms of finalization. What we have known is that all negotiation terms has been concluded. Now it is within the two governments to review and then give the final.
Well, India-Oman relations combine energy security, trade diversification, strategic alignment and people-to-people connect. With the CEPA on the horizon and Prime Minister Modi's upcoming visit, this partnership is set to grow further. And how much can it grow and what are the bright prospects? We will discuss this with Ambassador Bhaswati Mukherjee, former diplomat. Ambassador Mukherjee, appreciate you taking out the time and speaking with us. Well, like I said, and I spoke in my monologue also, that the ties between these two countries are not just economic in nature, they are not only geopolitical in nature, but the people-to-people connect is extremely profound. 1/5 of the population comprises of Indian diaspora. What do you think of this only Muslim country that has shown so much empathy as well as love for India?
Absolutely, Vineet. In fact, as a coincidence, my own younger sister spent 15 years in Oman before immigrating to Canada. And I vividly recall her saying that this is one country where there has never been a problem with the Indian diaspora, and the diaspora has been treated with great kindness and hospitality by the local population, and they have made huge contributions to the Omanese economy. And moreover, as you rightly point out, at a time when India's growth was not like it is now, the remittances that used to come regularly from the Indian diaspora in Oman was very useful. Now, of course, it's a reverse flow of FDI into Oman. It's a very dynamic partnership. But more than anything else, and I have been to Oman, what is amazing is the shared history, culture and civilization. For example, they have step wells in Oman to preserve water thousands of years ago, exactly as we have in Gujarat and Rajasthan. We used to trade, India and Oman used to trade for millennia, depending on the monsoon winds, which they also call monsoon, to take the boats across from one side of the Arabian Sea to the other, exactly as Prime Minister just remarked. This agreement now is also a clear demonstration of India having completely changed its approach to FTA, to agreements on trade, be they be called FTAs or CEPAs. The point is that we have reached a stage in our economic development where we are willing to be flexible and make some concessions so that the other side does the same. And we have recognized that in a time when free trade is under threat, the only way that countries like India, etc., can survive and also support the WTO and the principle of free trade is to have these agreements. This agreement will be of huge importance because it's, if I'm not mistaken, the first one which we are having with the Gulf country. And secondly, because we have a very interesting bilateral trade relationship. You pointed it out yourself. There are all kinds of things that the Omanis require from us, including pharma. Pharma is very important for the Omanis, quite apart from the traditional items like textiles, etc. And on the other hand, we have been investing heavily in the Omanis economy on areas which they need our support. And in return, Oman has been consistently supportive to India, whether it's political or it's geopolitical or it's on anti-terrorism or it's in the OIC. This is one country, one partner in the Arab world that has been consistently supportive. And I remember that when I was ambassador to UNESCO and they brought their World Heritage Site for inscription, India was the first country to support Oman. It was an indication of the kind of relationship that we have with them.
Fair enough,
I think this is going to be a trend in the future, Vineet. We're going to be signing, I'm told, in the next couple of months, many more FTAs, and that's a really good sign for us that we've been able to come out of this tariff problem by signing these FTAs.
Fair enough, ma'am. Appreciate your time and appreciate your perspective. Thank you so much for joining us. We take a short break now. We'll be right back.